Do you remember Storm Floris?
Well, today,
50-mile-an-hour winds.
when we do get winds up here, they're very strong.
You only come out if you need to. Stay at home, stay safe.
Oh, yeah, it was windy. Supposedly 100-mile-an-hour winds, trains were cancelled, flights were delayed. I think in Nuneaton, a wheelie bin blew over. But surely this was good news for this guy.
Nothing beats it. This is my idea of a holiday. I'm here at the site of the Rampion 2 wind farm. 1 million homes powered. 4,000 jobs during construction. Energy security. Good job tackling the climate crisis.
Could we just leave him out there? Anyway, Ed Miliband loves wind. He loves a wind turbine. Of course, President Trump doesn't.
The other thing I say to Europe, we will not allow a windmill to be built in the United States. They're killing us. They're killing the beauty of our scenery, our valleys, our beautiful plains. And I'm not talking about airplanes. I'm talking about beautiful plains, beautiful areas in the United States. And you look up and you see windmills all over the place. It's a horrible thing. It's the most expensive form of energy. It's no good. They're made in China, almost all of them.
But Ed Miliband loves wind turbines so much he wants to put them in your back garden. He wants to put them all over the Pennines, which The Guardian got upset about because, of course, it's Bronte country. No, we can't destroy Bronte country, say the same Guardianistas that probably have no qualms about there being a giant £2 million mega mosque built in rural Cumbria. But anyway, Ed Miliband even wants to put wind turbines as tall as the Eiffel Tower in the English Channel. Yeah, that's right. The only way I'd be in favour of that is if it acted as a wall to stop the illegal invasion of Britain. But Ed Miliband looks at wind turbines in the way that most blokes look at attractive women. He looks at wind turbines in the way that an obese person looks at a Greggs steak bake. He looks at wind turbines in the way that Bob Marley looked at cannabis. He loves them so much that in his spare time, he likes to take his little ukulele out and sing to them.
The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.
So, for failed Labour leader and notorious brother shafter, a reference to when he knifed him in the back all those years ago, not anything else, Ed Miliband, Storm Floris must have been all his birthdays rolled into one. Wrong. It was too windy for the wind turbines. We had to turn them off, and it cost you, the British taxpayer, 33 million quid. We had to turn them off because they would have overwhelmed the grid and all the lights would have gone out. In fact, wasted wind power has cost Britain an estimated 752 million quid so far this year, equivalent to more than £140,000 an hour. The cost has risen from a meagre 456 million over the same period in 2024. That cost, by the way, is expected to be billions of pounds over the next few years. But Ed doesn't care about your money, does he? He's personally absolutely minted, as far as I'm aware. He seems happy to waste your cash on his big, green ego trip. Talking of trips, one of his advisors racked up 40,000 air miles last year, and he himself, there you go, look at that. Ed Miliband, he's sent someone on a 46-hour trip to Brazil just to check a luxury hotel out for him for a climate conference. And then if you look at what he's done himself, he personally has a carbon footprint 12 times higher than the average Brit. Look, I mean, honestly, Ed Miliband can get his little ukulele out and strum it in front of as many wind turbines as he likes. But the fact is, when it gets too windy, we have to turn them off, and we have to rely on oil and gas.
Hello, I'm Bev Turner. Now, it can feel like the money in our bank accounts at the moment does not keep up with the cost of living, and maybe there's a solution. I'm here today with the CEO of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. Cameron, what is TallyMoney?
Well, Bev, with TallyMoney, you get a current account and a debit card, but instead of pounds, you use milligrams of gold as your everyday money.
So why gold?
Gold traditionally is a great store of value. It has, on average, gone up at over 11% per annum for the last 25 years against the pound. It's tripled in value in the last decade. And in the last 2 years alone, it's increased by 50% against the pound. Banks' savings products just can't compete with that level of growth.
But this isn't just about gold. This is about a currency that you guys have created at TallyMoney. Explain it to me as though I'm an idiot.
So, look, people need to be able to hold their earnings and build their savings in a money that retains its value and remains in their legal control and remains theirs to access, away from government control.
Great. You had me at not exposed to government control.
You should feel safe and happy with your money. You should have peace of mind the more money you see in your bank balance, and that's the type of thing we're trying to deliver and give people choice in the type of money they get to use every day.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Cameron. Thank you.
Let's go towards my panel. We have got the Reform Councillor, Jamie McIver, political commentator, Chloe Dobbs, and former Labour Party advisor, Matthew Larzer. Jamie, I'll start with you on this. So, pretty shocking, this, really, that when it got a bit windy, it cost us money.
It's just humiliating. It's humiliating for Britain. It's humiliating for the government. But you know what actually waters my eyes a little bit is when you look at the staggering pressures local councils are under at the moment. You know, as a councillor, I see that day in, day out. And you look at the figures and you're looking at basic things in our country that we're having to make cuts on. You know, when you look at adult social care, children's services, when you look at, you know, schools that have got, you know, water coming through the ceiling, classrooms that are too hot in the summer. And then you see the government just wasting money like that on their obsession, their ideological obsession. You know, it's so disappointing and insulting to the British people. And you know what? No one is against trying to make the country as healthy as possible. You know, no one wants to see rubbish in our rivers, etc. But what they do, they completely damage the idea of getting anywhere near that because they are ideologically obsessed and they have absolutely no respect for taxpayer money.
Yeah, I mean, basically, Ed Miliband literally wants to put wind turbines in people's gardens. He wants to put it all across the Pennines. Any plot of land that hasn't got a wind turbine on it, Ed Miliband's there, put a wind turbine on it. And then the second the wind gets above 50 miles an hour, we have to turn the flipping thing off.
Well, I mean, the national grid has a very, very poor capacity. I mean, it is so outdated. It needs sorting out. And we can't go after this net zero target until, if and when, they sort the national grid out. But Ed Miliband is too busy putting up wind turbines that we can't even turn on and we actually have to pay money to turn off than actually sorting out the national grid. I mean, it's ridiculous. He's completely, as you say, very ideological, not pragmatic at all. And this Labour government is really bad at managing expectations. They are great at over-promising and under-delivering. And they've told us, oh, your bills are all going to come down. This is going to make all the energy cheap. The reality is, with renewables, there are huge upfront costs and it will make things more expensive for at least 5 to 10 years. Maybe things will come down in the long run, but they need to at least be honest with the public about that. They've just really annoyed people. Prices are going up all the time as a consequence of this, and consequently, it's really putting people off the environmental cause.
Yeah, well, I think it probably is. Go on, Matthew. So, I
think the ukulele is probably putting a lot of people off the environmental cause, to be honest. I have to say, when I have to declare an interest, I work for Ed Miliband.
Yes, you did.
I was brought in to be the guy who's made sure he never ate a bacon sandwich anywhere near a TV camera again. He certainly wouldn't have had a ukulele in my day, is all I'm saying.
Good.
Sorry.
But just to the essence of this now, you know, I mean, bills have gone up broadly. We are now importing energy sometimes from France as well. We've got people that used to work on oil rigs in the North Sea now going and getting our oil from Indonesia and importing it in, which is worse for the environment. I mean, what is this guy playing at?
Well, look, I think the important thing about net zero, which is an objective that I support, and actually every poll says the majority of the British people support, is that you bring people with you. So, Chloe, you're absolutely right. The problem we've got at the moment is the grid cannot support the renewable energy. Wind turbines in the right place, particularly out in the middle of the sea, rather than in Bronte country or in people's back gardens, are fundamentally a good thing. They mean we're not reliant on world gas prices. So in the future, if something happens like the Ukraine war, we won't see that big spike. But we cannot be building them if we can't move that electricity around the country. At the moment, we can't move it from Scotland to England in enough volume. So, you know, I think Ed needs to be careful that he seemed to be applying common sense and not eco-zealotry, as the headlines would say it to it. Otherwise, the government will suffer.
Where is the common sense in shutting down coal mines on our mainland and then trying to say there's going to be some sort of energy security by putting a load of windmills out in the ocean where a state like Russia could come and sabotage at any moment? We've got stuff on our mainland that is being...
Well, it is in our waters.
And also, well, we've just seen with the French that means nothing to this government. But more importantly, you know, we're cutting down trees in Canada. You know, it's just ridiculous what we're doing. And the idea, you know, energy security is fundamental to this country. We are losing jobs, shrinking our economy with the obsession with net zero, and the idea that it becomes secure by sticking them all out in the ocean. I just think
We need a mix, and
it
that's
is
what the government...
completely flawed.
Look,
Totally flawed.
we need renewables to be brought into the mix for energy security, but you don't increase energy security by saying we're going to put cement down the last gas wells in the country no new licences for new exploration in the North Sea. That makes you less secure as a country because, I mean, if you look at the percentage of what renewables currently make up of how much energy we use, it's like a teeny tiny percentage, and that is where Ed Miliband is being a complete and utter hypocrite. You see him go on media around saying, oh, we're increasing energy security to fend off evil Putin, but he's doing the opposite, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, clearly, Ed Miliband, yeah, right, I do think he's very ideological, but he would argue he's got conviction in his beliefs and that he is genuinely doing his best to try to bring about net zero, which obviously, according to him, is utterly vital. But there are certain things that I think were quite disingenuous about. There was a clip I played right at the start of my monologue there, which was him on his holiday out to the wind turbines. I don't know if we might be able to bring that back up again, if possible. But if we can, that would be great. Because there's a line in there that really stood out to me when I thought about, yeah, can we do it? Go on, let's go.
Darling, hold my hand.
Nothing beats it. This is my idea of a holiday. I'm here at the site of the Rampion 2 wind farm. 1 million homes powered. 4,000 jobs during construction.
Energy security.
Right, so not just the thing that when he said 4,000 he held two fingers up, which is a concern, I think, but he said 4,000 jobs during construction. Right, well, that makes it sound like he's trying to fulfil his thing, green energy brings jobs. No, you had to employ people to build the wind farms. The wind farms are built, they won't have jobs there anymore. That's gone. Net zero is costing us jobs, isn't it?
Well, what's costing us jobs at the moment is that we've got energy prices that are too high. The government has said that if a big industrial consumer, so we don't lose industry, it's going to bring bills down. We need to hear the detail. We need to hear the detail on that. Look, I mean, I agree with Chloe. We've got to have a mix, and therefore the government's got a big decision coming up, which is about whether or not to reverse a decision that the court took over an oil and gas licence in Scotland. And there's a big pressure. The government, in my view, needs to reverse the court's decision, which said no to it, having the previous government having said yes to it, and it needs to say yes. A big test for Ed. And I'll tell you who Ed needs to listen to. He needs to listen to the trade unions, who represent a lot of people who work in the oil and gas industry and have been absolutely clear. People like the GMB union saying we need to have a mix, which will include oil and gas from the North Sea and not from Indonesia or anywhere else.
You know, and it's a great point. I did read an article yesterday about what might do for Ed Miliband are the unions, which would be quite ironic, really, given of course he's a Labour minister. All right, thank you very, very much. We have got a lot more coming your way.